Namaskara. I'm going to talk about KAS Prelims 2024 re-exam that happened on December 29, 2024. Big question, what could be the potential cutoff for this prelims exam? For the general merit candidates, ಅಬ್ಬಬ್ಬ ಅಂದರೆ 180 ವರೆಗೂ ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು. For other categories, it would be lesser than 180, of course. So, what is the number of right answers that you must have in your account after deductions? 90 questions should come right for you after all the deductions, isn't it? So, I always tell my students that if you're strong in your political science as well as current affairs related to political science and governance, that is government, all other things will start falling in place and it is easy for you to clear the cutoff. So, I have analyzed paper 1 and polity and related areas, 22 direct questions without thinking any serious civil service aspirant can crack it. So, if you have 22, what is the remaining number of questions that you need to attempt? Let us do the math. Let us be very logical. Okay. So, let us say that you have got the 22 questions right out of polity and related areas, and then you know that cutoff would be somewhere around 90. So, you know that you are supposed to attempt 68 more questions, and you also know that you have 78 left from GS paper 1 and also 100 in GS 2. You are left with 178 questions, right? Out of 178, you should know that you should get 68 right now. So, out of 178, if you are a serious civil service aspirant, it is easy for you to attempt at least 100 questions out of 178, correct? If you attempt 100 questions from 178 carefully, and let's say your accuracy is 75%, you should be able to get 75 right, and 75 with a negative marking, let's say you lose around 7 marks, you get about 68 marks in your account, and you already have 22 in your account, which means you have got the required cutoff 90 marks so easily, isn't it? So, this is the logic with which your mind should start thinking. That is why I said polity and current affairs related to polity is your backbone. So, let us go through all the 22 cakewalk questions, current affairs related to polity, and see if they were actually a cakewalk for any civil service aspirant. And this helps us have a mindset for the future exams that actually these exams are easy to crack. So, let's move on. The first question, see, it is about Indian Statutory Commission, which is nothing but a Simon Commission, 1927, and the first statement is directly related to that. Look at the statement. The commission was appointed in 1927 to review the Government of India Act 1919 and propose constitutional reforms for India, which is the correct statement. The commission included only one Indian member. It included no Indian member, because of which Gandhi rejected it as an all-white commission. And then the outcome of the commission and the roundtable conference was the Government of India Act 1935, which is the correct statement. So, statement B is wrong, 1 is right, and statement C is wrong, and statement D, Government of India Act 1935 introduced diarchy in the provinces. Is it correct? Diarchy was introduced in the center and provincial autonomy was given in the provinces in the Government of India Act 1935. If you are thorough with your polity, these questions are like cake for you to eat. So, incorrect statement out of this is obviously B and D. Moving on quickly, don't have much time. Which of the following articles directs the state to introduce the scheme and plans to minimize inequalities in income and to endeavor to eliminate inequalities in status and opportunities, not only amongst individuals but also among group of people? This is related to directive principles of state policy, and I'm sure all serious civil service aspirants would have done their homework on directive principles of state policy. The answer is 38.1, 38.2 and 39 also, but it is not given in the option, so I will choose 1, 2, 3 only. Direct, easy cake once again, isn't it? So, moving on. How many of the following statements are correct about Bharat Ratna award? Bharat Ratna is a straightforward question. The recommendations for Bharat Ratna are made by the Prime Minister himself to the President. It's not a one-man decision, it's a committee decision. That's an incorrect statement. The number of annual awards is restricted to a maximum of 3 in a particular area year. That is also a wrong statement. Both Nelson Mandela and Mother Teresa are recipients of Bharat Ratna Award, which is a well-known fact, which is a correct statement. Only a person with Padma Awards can receive the Bharat Ratna, which is an incorrect statement. So what is the correct option here? It is only C, which is related to Nelson Mandela and Mother Teresa. Again, direct question and direct answer for you. Next, what is cohabitation? This is also a cakewalk question for all political science and polity related students. Cohabitation is related to France, where two particular political party members hold a position of power, and that happens in France. And the statement 1 is talking directly about that. And next statement is, in the history of the Fifth Republic, there has never been a cohabitation in France, which is an incorrect statement. 3 times or more than 3 times cohabitation has happened in France in the Fifth Republic. So what is the correct answer here? It is B only, because the question is incorrect statement out of this 2 is B. Alright, so that's about cohabitation. Blue helmet, again a direct question which is related to UN peacekeeping mission and US peacekeeping personnel. They are called as military personnel, they are called as blue helmets. Direct question. And another direct question related to classical language was asked, which is in news, of course. You know that Pali, Prakrit and Marathi got recognized as classical language recently in the current affairs, and you would be easily able to answer this as well. And next question is related to Citizenship Act, which was also expected this year because of NRC and other issues. So it upheld section 6A of 1955 Citizenship Act. Who? The Supreme Court. It is the correct statement. If you are thorough with your current affairs related to polity, easy question. The Supreme Court in its decision upheld citizenship of people who arrived to Assam prior to 1st January 1966 from Bangladesh. This is the section 6A all about, isn't it? So second statement is direct and correct. And then section 6A of 1955 Citizenship Act provides an opportunity to become an Indian who arrived to West Bengal prior to 1st January 1966 from Nepal. Where did Nepal and West Bengal come here? It's an incorrect statement. So what is the correct statement out of these 3? 1 and 2 only. So you got this right again. So next question, which of the following provisions are correct regarding 6th schedule of Indian Constitution? Direct question. 6th schedule, which is related to Ametrimi. That's how I remember Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. Administration and tribal administration of these areas. And the first statement is related to that directly. Second statement, 6th schedule empowers the state to constitute district and regional councils by empowering them to make laws on various areas. It is not the state which constitute these bodies, it is the governor who constitute these bodies. Alright, so that's an incorrect statement. Under the 49th Constitutional Amendment Act, all the provisions of the 6th schedule are applicable to Tripura tribal areas. All may not be a possibility. So that's an incorrect statement. So what is the correct statement out of this? It is only 1. Alright, this is relating to impeachment process of the president. Very easy and straightforward question. Look at the statements. The charge shall be preferred by either house of the parliament. Yes, of course. Article 61 of the Constitution deals with the impeachment process. This is also a straightforward statement. The resolution shall be passed by a majority of not less than 2/3 of the total membership of the House. Again, a straightforward statement. And these 3 are correct statements. And look at the first statement. The nominated members of the parliament don't have the right to participate in the impeachment process. Do they not have the right? They have the full membership of the House, so they have the right. So this is an incorrect statement. So what is the correct statements out of these 4? It is 1, 2, 3 only. Again, direct statement. Okay, direct statement based question. If you're thorough in your polity, cakewalk again. Next question. Which of the following statements are correct? Legislative Council is a permanent house. Is it a permanent house? Yes, of course. Legislative Assembly is dissolved after the term of 5 years from the date of its first meeting. Assembly is dissolved after 5 years. That's also a correct statement. Legislative Assembly is dissolved when the ruling party loses its majority. Is it correct? Just because a government falls down, is there a scope for forming an alternative government by way of governor calling in the opposition party with the required majority to form the government, and the assembly will run? isn't it? So that's an incorrect statement. So the correct statements out of this are A and B only. Moving on. Consider the following statements with regard to Lok Sabha cannot override the Rajya Sabha by passing the bill. Lok Sabha is more powerful than Rajya Sabha. This is an incorrect statement, of course. The Legislative Assembly can override the Legislative Council by passing the bill for the second time and not vice versa. This is also a straightforward statement where lower house is more powerful than the upper house. The Constitution provides the mechanism of joint sitting of two houses of the Parliament to resolve a deadlock. That is also a known thing, isn't it? The Constitution does not provide the mechanism of joint sitting. Who said so? See, the obvious answer here is B and C only. So Lok Sabha cannot override, incorrect statement, and B is the correct statement, C is the correct statement. No option of joint sitting is incorrect, right? See, the correct answer here is B and C only. Next question, a bill lapses when it is pending in the Rajya Sabha but not passed by Lok Sabha. If you are a serious aspirant, lapsing of a bill you will know by heart. So it is if a bill is pending in the Rajya Sabha but not passed by Lok Sabha, is it considered as a lapse of a bill? Let's see. It is originated and passed by Rajya Sabha but pending in the Lok Sabha. Let's see. It is originated in the Lok Sabha but pending in the Lok Sabha. Does it lapse? Let's see. It is originated and passed by the Lok Sabha but pending in the Rajya Sabha. So what is the correct answer here? It is B, C, D only. Why A is considered as not lapsed? Because Rajya Sabha is a permanent house. It is pending in the permanent house and it is not passed by the Lok Sabha. That means it is originating there in the Rajya Sabha, which is a permanent house, and it has not yet gone to Lok Sabha. So it will not be lapsing at all, isn't it? So that's the logic there. We will talk about lapse of a bill in a separate polity class. Alright, moving on. Match the older names of Andaman and Nicobar Islands with newer ones. Again, current affairs related to your surroundings. That is, where are you? So Ross Island is related to Subhash Chandra Bose. I know about this. And then I also know about Port Blair, which is renamed as Vijayapuram. So if I know at least two options out of this, I am good to go. See, the correct option is 1B, which is Ross Island related to Subhash Chandra Bose, Boss and Ross. That's how I remember. And Port Blair, I know that it is renamed as Vijayapuram. So rest other two I will match with my logical reasoning. Moving on. To travel from Karnataka to Mizoram by walking, the minimum number of states you have to pass through. Again, your sense of awareness about where are you. I always tell my students to know your India map thoroughly so that all these kind of questions can be tackled very easily. From Karnataka, I know that I have to pass through Andhra Pradesh and then Odisha and then West Bengal and then Assam, and through Assam I'll get into Tripura. It's very easy. The answer is 4 states, 4 minimum states. So this is the map. So this should be etched in your memory. Easy again, cakewalk. Recently, the government of India launched Vishwasya. What is it related to? Again, related to your governance. It is related to blockchain technology stack. Current affairs. Next question. Which of the following statements are correct about electronic voting machine and voter verifiable paper audit trial? Expected question. EVMs was used for the first time in 1982. I know that is a fact. In Kerala, they used it for the first time, 1982. So I keep this as my correct option. EVM and VVPAT do not require any external power supply. This is also a correct statement. It's a standalone device. And then EVMs cannot be used in simultaneous elections. Why not? VVPAT was introduced by the ECI in compliance to the pronouncement of the Supreme Court in Lily Thomas case. It was not Lily Thomas case. It was Subramaniam Swamy case. So we'll talk about it in polity class. So the correct answer is A and B only. Again, cakewalk question. So next question. Consider the 3 lists here. 3 lists with regard to division of power. Union list, economic and social planning. Does state not make social planning and economic planning? State planning is definitely there. So it's in the concurrent list. So that's an incorrect matching there. State list, interstate trade and commerce, is it related to state list? It's the union list. So that's an incorrect statement. That concurrent list audit of the accounts of the Union of the States, is it done by both states as well as Government of India? That's an incorrect statement. So the obvious answer is none of the above. Okay, moving on. So what is this SFIO, Serious Fraud Investigation Office? Again related to our governance. And fraud investigation happens, many of you might think that it happens in the finance ministry. Finance is related to finance and budgeting and all that, right? So anything related to fraud investigation, it should be related to Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So the work under the Ministry of Finance and the Government of India is an incorrect statement, and it was established under a separate act of the Parliament, which is the correct statement. It was established through Companies Act of 2013, and then it investigates the matters on the request of any department of central and state government, which is the correct statement. That's what it does. The headquarters of SFIO is in New Delhi with 5 regional offices. That also seems to be the correct statement. So the correct statement here is C and D. So the correct option here is C and D only. Next, which of the following is correct regarding the pocket veto, that is veto power of the President of India as compared with American President? You know that 4 kinds of veto powers are there for the President of US and 3 kinds of veto powers for President of India. What are those? Absolute veto, qualified veto, suspensive veto, and pocket veto. So they're talking about pocket veto and comparing it with the American President. Unlike American President, the President of India can keep the pending bill for an indefinite period, which is correct. Unlike American President, the President of India neither rejects the bill nor returns the bill for reconsideration. That is also correct. Unlike the American Constitution, the Constitution of India does not give any time limit to the President upon the pocket veto of any bill. That is also correct statement. Unlike the American President who has to resend the bill within 10 days, Indian President has no time bound. All these are correct statements and factual statements. So the cakewalk answer is 4. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. This brings us to the final question, the 22nd question for discussion today. The prorogation postpones a joint sitting of the House by an order made by the Governor. What prorogation and joint sitting? This is an incorrect statement for sure. Adjournment terminates both the sitting and session of the House. Does it adjourn the sitting as well as the session? No, it adjourns just the sitting of the House, which is a known fact. Recess is the time between the prorogation and reassembly of the houses. Is it the correct statement? Yes, recess. The meaning of recess is that itself. The Governor can also prorogue the House in session. This is also a straightforward correct statement. So what is the correct answer here? A cakewalk, C and D only. So this completes the 22 cakewalk questions from polity and related to polity areas. And if you have solved the let's say if you have solved the 22 questions in a span of 15-20 minutes, your confidence is super high and your mental strength is fully stabilized, and you will be able to hunt for the remaining 68 questions for you to crack this exam, isn't it? Of course, in GS1 you're left with 78 questions, so you would be attempting, let's say out of 78 you would be attempting let's say another 40-45 questions, and you get an accuracy of 75%. You have done a great job in paper 1, and then you're left with paper 2, wherein you'll have to deal with some mental ability, with environment related questions and state related affairs questions, which should be a cakewalk for you to solve and get through this prelims exam and focus on your mains exam. So the cutoff is obviously 180 marks, not more than that. And if you are somewhere in this range, start preparing for mains. All the best for you. And those who are preparing for other exams, this is how you should be having the mental setup. Stay tuned for more informative videos like this. This is Tarun V. Bhatt signing off.